Way back in 2003, Jack Sparrow asked the question, why is the rum gone? And today, we get to talk about Curse of the Black Pearl, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. This movie was based on a Disneyland attraction of the same name, Pirates of the Caribbean. One of my favorite rides, to be honest, at Disneyland. I grew up in that park. My mom worked at one of the restaurants there. My grandmother also worked at a restaurant there. So I used to go all the time as a kid. I spent many summers there, and it was a blast and a half. I've since taken my family there a couple times now, and I absolutely have a great time reliving those childhood memories that I've had, sharing those memories with my kids, and my wife too, who had never experienced Disneyland before. And one of our favorite rides at the park as a family collectively is the Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black... No, it's not the Curse of the Black Pearl ride, it's the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. It's always been one of our favorites. And, of course, that transitions into why this movie is one of something that we kind of watch frequently. Now, I personally haven't watched Curse of the Black Pearl in many years, so it's been a minute. But my wife, I always hear the music playing in the background, dun 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 dun, dun, all that, those awesome beats that play in the background of the score of this Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl movie. My wife plays this movie in the background quite a bit, so I do hear it from time to time. But rewatching it this last week, I realized that this is a very entertaining movie. And of course, it's from the top. Jack Sparrow, played by Johnny Depp. I think he gives a really memorable role. Of course, he got nominated for an Oscar, which I think was a controversial decision at that time, because it was this kind of crazed pirate who is drunkard asking why the rum's gone, and seems to be talking in circles all the time. And is this performance really worthy of a Best Acting nomination? I will say that I appreciate the nomination here. I think it's definitely something different. It did turn into a character... as the franchise did progress, it did become a caricature of itself, where the performance kind of went downhill, especially when you're looking at episode Pirates of the Caribbean 4 and Pirates of the Caribbean 5. I think the performance does go down a hill. But we're talking about The Curse of the Black Pearl, the very first entry into this franchise. And this franchise was kicked off by Gore Verbinski, and this movie was written by Ted Elliott, Terry Rossio, and Stuart Beattie. And also stars some really great talent. Geoffrey Rush plays Captain Barbossa. You got Orlando Bloom as Will Turner, and you got Kiera Knightley as Elizabeth Swann. Now, the four big actors of this movie are fantastic. However, the supporting cast is just as good. You got Jack Davenport as Norrington. You got Jonathan Pryce as Governor Swan, Elizabeth Swann's father here. And also, Lee Arnberg and Mackenzie Crook play two pirates that are always chasing after an eyeball and are shouting parlay. It's really, those two characters are really awesome here too. And also a really brief appearance by Zoe Saldana. And with that great cast, we do this really interesting story with Jack Sparrow trying to get the Black Pearl back from his ex-pirate crew, led by Captain Barbossa now, who kind of did a mutiny and, casted Jack Sparrow out. But these pirates are cursed, so that's why it's the Curse of the Black Pearl, because there's some Aztec gold involved. And of course, Jack Sparrow has to recruit Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann to kind of help out with this expedition to try to get the Black Pearl back. It's a really fun story that has a really great score and really fun performances. Like I said, the performances here all have some really bright spots, and I think it really is from the top. Johnny Depp's fantastic as Jack Sparrow, and I couldn't really picture anybody else playing this character. I think he brings such great charisma to it. He brings a kind of a really fun likeness. In this role, he was knocking it out of the park, and I totally understand the Oscar nomination here. I'm not the biggest fan of Orlando Bloom, other than like his Lord of the Rings appearances, but here he's pretty good. I like him as Will Turner here in this franchise. It's really fun to see him kind of play off of Jack Sparrow and Johnny Depp's kind of charisma here. I think he does a really great job. Kiera Knightley really does shine here as Elizabeth Swann. Not so much in this one per se. She definitely steps up in a big ways in like Dead Man's Chest and also at World's End. I really like her in those other films rather than this one, but it's a really solid outing from Kiera Knightley here. Norrington's really fascinating character who I did think it's kind of creepy that he's such a, so at the beginning of the movie, essentially you see Norrington and Elizabeth Swann's a little girl who's probably like 10 or 12, and eventually like they're going to get married at the beginning of the essentially that's what they're trying to court, like date in the beginning of the movie. It's kind of creepy, gets those kind of icky vibes after so many years of now, but whatever, I guess, right? It's a really cool movie, and I like the visuals here. I think the transitions from these cursed pirates, and you see them in their flesh, and all of a sudden the moon hits them, or the moonlight hits them. They turn into the skeleton. I think that's really cool. The visual effects really still do hold up. The score, the adventure, it's all there, and I was really just swept away in this adventure once again. Of course, there's a couple things that it becomes it's a very long film. It's not as long as the other films in this franchise, but I think there's some pacing stuff there as well that they definitely try to pad the runtime here. And I think this is one of this. Correct me in the comments. I think this is one of the first PG-13 Disney films, and I think because of them transitioning to the skeleton, there's some haunting images there. So I think that this is one of the very first times Disney stepped out of the realm of PG and went PG-13, and I think it works here. There's some really fun swashbuckling action here, and the overall experience is wrapped up really well, and I just set it up, and there is a in post-credit sequence that doesn't really stand true to anything. It doesn't really tease anything other than that there's going to be a second film. And I think the big controversy came with the second film when they were trying to set up the third film. We won't talk about that here. But Curse of the Black Pearl is a really fun, kind of fun time. Really great performances from the entire cast, great visuals, a fun swashbuckling adventure led by a great score. I really like this rewatch, and it's definitely one of the higher movies on this franchise too. I think this is where it really kind of had its peak of the franchise, and it tried to mimic the success of this film, and I really cannot wait to go back and ride Pirates of the Caribbean in a couple months. It's going to be a lot of fun to kind of revisit that ride, and just knowing that I just watched this pretty fun movie too. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Is this your favorite film? Stay tuned for also my ranking coming up tomorrow. Really excited to drop that and have more fun conversations with you here on YouTube. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later.